My name is Daniel Vincent Janciapo, sometimes Wuglet and sometimes Danny. Mostly just Danny, but you get the point. I'm just rattling through them. I was born on June 14th, 1999 in Massachusetts. I lived in a small town known as Dedham, but at only 10 months my family and I moved to Franklin, Massachusetts. My entire family consists of a little over 20 people, and of those 20-some people, all of them live in Massachusetts. And that's all we've got. Literally. You'd have to go to Italy and find some botched version of the name to find other Janciapos out there. But I digress. Anyways, my dad's brother married my mom's sister, so our family is very close, literally and genetically. So as you can imagine, my brother and I have always been very close with our cousins. But enough about my family. That's boring. They're boring. And old. I grew up in my neighborhood with 4 other kids my age. Anna, Noah, Jillian, and Michael. And they had more effect on my life than I had ever thought to realize. It was a normal day of preschool when I met Noah. We were playing with plastic farm animal toys, but they were thick plastic, the good kind, the kind that can hurt, the kind that you can feel the weight in your hands. I don't know who, but one of us threw a cow or a pig or something like that at the other one's head. I would put my money on him, because, he's a hothead and a jealous one at that. But anyways, someone retaliated and the fight started. We got in trouble, we had to apologize, and we were told to become friends. So we did. And I found out in all my glorious wisdom that he was my neighbor. See, he lived diagonally to the left of my house, and Jillian lived in front of him, and Anna next to her, and Michael on the other side of the circle. And that's generally where we all live within the neighborhood. But it's a very small neighborhood. So we were really only a few seconds away from each other at all times. I hung out with Noah every day for years, and we hung out with Michael and sometimes Jillian and Anna, though back then girls were forbidden, so that wasn't super often. And we met new people as we went through school, and we made all kinds of friends. We as individuals and as a group had all of our ups and downs, and we always ended up seeming to come back to each other at one point or another. Then high school came around, as well as puberty and everything that brought on, and life took a major nosedive. Just for the sake of providing some examples of how not everything is about me in my mind, though it is difficult to find them, I admit. There were several other instances in high school growing up and middle school and all kinds of things that went on when I was growing up that were marketable moments in my life. For instance, sophomore year was the year that I had a little bit of an accident, to say the least, and told my friends about it, which some may argue was a mistake, and I would argue that I agree. But at the same time, that it is not, because look at how much joy it gave them. Look how much it made them laugh, and laugh, and laugh, and laugh. There was also the time last year when Noah actually ended up having his house catch on fire, and his garage was, burning to the ground. I remember I ran outside with my brother, and I stood there with Noah and my brother and pretty much everyone else in the neighborhood while the firefighters came as soon as they could, which, granted, seemed like it took quite a while, and they ended up putting the fire out. But that was a big moment. Back when I was in middle school, we used to go in 6th grade and 7th grade pretty much every Friday night to the skate rink at the high school, and that's where all the cool middle schoolers would go skate around the rink for, an hour, maybe 2 hours, get some soda, get some candy, talk to friends. When it wasn't the skate rink, we were going somewhere like a Chargers dance, or my personal favorite, just hanging out at somebody's house. We did that every Friday night. I remember me, Noah, and our friend Alex for, I think, 2 years in a row or something like that. It was fun. In freshman year, for instance, as one of the biggest things that I can think of, I essentially lost Anna and Jillian through my own stupid moves, and then Jillian moved away. In time, I was able to make things better with Anna, at least a little bit, but it's, a burnt bridge built back with wet wood, I guess. But anyways, that was pretty much one of the only things I can remember about freshman year. Sophomore year went by pretty quickly and mostly was just a blur, and I don't really remember that much, but I do remember when I created Project MO, and I asked all the other guys to help me. Great triumph or great mistake, I've yet to decide, considering considering. But that happened, and for a long time it felt good to go to school, work on the show whenever, and talk to some of my closest friends in the world. It's sweet, I know. I realized that year how I wanted to make people happy. The year afterwards, I learned that I found comfort in others' happiness and valued it more than my own, but that all changed in that year. That goddamn fuck me year. Junior year, the two-faced bitch that sucker punched my life and then kicked it while it was down came next. Things were at an all-time high, and I was talking left and right to whoever about whatever. I went out, not a ton, but a huge amount for me, and a huge amount more than I used to. I felt like people really wanted me around, and I think I became part of a group, and a good one at that. I made videos, I played games, I lost bets, I dyed my hair, and, still paying for that one. But life was good. But like most times, I didn't see the good times while I was in them, and one classic Danny fuck-up after another, I screwed things up and seemingly lost everything, and everyone. And it was all my fault. Well, somewhat, anyways. Some of it wasn't, though if you wanted to get all technical, it does all lead back to me, the hero of this story. But this isn't a pity party, and I don't live a life alone and depressed, not anymore. And that's my point. That's what I wanted to explain. See, it seems like what I'm saying about my life so far, and while this is one of the most generalized versions I've ever given, seems like it's somewhat depressing, and like not a lot has happened. That's not true. In life, yours, mine, or anyone else's, things suck. And life can suck, that's just a fact of life. Some might even say that most of the time it does. But the way that I see it, life and destiny and fate and all that crap can either be cruel or non-existent. If you want to work things out, then you have to do it for yourself. You may get lucky, and maybe even the reason that things are bad for you and the reason that you're feeling pain is because of you. But that doesn't mean things don't get better. But it also doesn't mean it just happens on its own. The thing that I was thinking about recently is that sometimes it feels like we're put into a dark room and we're all alone. It can feel like it's wet and cold, and it can feel like it's miles long, and no matter how far you go to try to leave, you will never reach the end. And sometimes it feels like it's so small that you can't breathe. Sometimes it feels like no matter how hard you try to climb out, you can't, and you're all alone, and nobody knows you're there, or it seems like maybe nobody cares. But it's not about that. Even if that's true, which 9.9 out of 10 times it isn't. It's about when you finally do get out and you can live again, not for others, but for you. It's about the hope that one day you won't turn back into that room and you will never have to go back in there again. If my life has taught me anything, it's that when you give up and just leave the past behind you and forget about all there ever was, good and bad, that's when you lose. And that's when you can't get out. You're not supposed to just hang on to the past and hang on to what could have been and what is and what you wish wasn't and what you would change. Because none of that can change. It's about what you have right now. And it's about looking back at all that with fondness. And maybe not fondness, but looking back at it and learning. You can learn and you can laugh and you can cry and you can scream just by looking back at all these things. But when you do that, that's how you grow. You remember who you were, and you try to move on and be something greater. What's helped to move me forward is hope. And so long as you have hope that things will get better, then in time, they will. It just takes time and faith. So long as you have those things, and so long as you know that you are never truly alone, then you never will be. And you will always be able to climb out of that room. Even if it feels like it takes a lifetime, you will. That's hope. That's what all of it is about.